Hi, I'm Tekiro Omega, and welcome to Mary's Hare. It's hair, not hair. You'll see, you know what I mean, in just a bit. Apparently, this thing. The rabbit still breathes barely. The rope holding the snare is weak. It could chew through if it tried, if it wasn't so afraid. Instead, it writhes and screams and squirms. I don't really know. Well, it's spooky. Mary leans over it, the sigh so pitiful it breaks her heart, or the sight so pitiful. She wants to let it go, but her insides growl in protest. It's so frightened. Anyways, I don't think this is very long, but it's a horror thingy. It's been days, weeks since they've had meat, and the crops have been so withered and dry. It fights still, but it's getting weaker and weaker. She wanted to start a family for so long. How can she when she wastes away? It's her or the hare. The hare or a baby. That's no choice at all. Rip. Broken neck right there. They enjoy the evening silence, full on rabbit stew, and content for the first time that they can remember. As they bask in the glow of the fireside, Mary looks at her husband, the light dancing across his eyes. It's the first time he's looked at her like that in so long. Nausea yanks her out of her sleep, but she tries to wait it out. The mornings are getting colder, but she's loath to get out of bed, but no luck. The sickness gnaws at her until she stumbles out of bed. She doesn't make it far. The stew. It must have been the stew that made her sick. The meat was so tender and rich. But it can't be. Wasn't that days ago? Mary crawls back to bed, her head spinning, and stays there. Whenever they say head spinning, I can only think of The Exorcist. I know that's not what it means, but that's always what I think of. She sweats and aches, and her belly swells. A cause for celebration, isn't it? But she lays there, and the fever dreams haunt her until the screams shake her from sleep. Over and over and over. The pain is so strong she doesn't know if she'll make it. She calls for her husband, but there is no answer. She screams until her throat is hoarse, and still there's no answer. Somehow, panting, she drags herself out of bed. Her legs wobble. She fights to keep her knees from giving out as she makes her way across the room. A sharp pain sears through her. Uh-oh. That's not good. The doctor! Call the doctor! The doctor is apologizing, his hands covered in blood and gore. It was too late. There was nothing that he could have done to have saved it. She should be glad to have survived. His bloody hands cradle something small, what was to be her baby. His eyes are sad at first, but he takes a closer look. Oh God, really? The doctor runs out without another word, his bloody hands clapped over his throat to keep himself from being sick. Mary barely notices and closes her eyes. When she awakes, there's a faint pink stain on the floor, and the sheets under her feel stiff and smell of something acrid. Acrid? Never seen that word before. She sleeps deeply at long last, but not for long. The screams cut through her dreams again, and bile rises in her when she wakes again. So soon again, her belly grows. But how? This time the midwife is called, and she isn't afraid. The midwife stays with her. More doctors are called to observe the curiosity as she delivers bundle after bloody bundle. A marvel, a freak, they examine her stillborn children, some with wonder in their eyes and others with a shudder, crossing themselves as though somehow her stillborn babes could hurt them. Eventually the blood stops. She hasn't taken a meal in weeks, but the taste of rabbit stew still rises in the back of her tongue, mixing with the acrid bile that always hovers there. The doctors have gone away, though the midwife still comes in to check on her. Her husband, she can barely remember his face. When was the last time she saw him? The days go by and her breathing shallows, and her tongue tastes of sand. She shrivels up everywhere, her skin stretched so thin it hurts. Everywhere except... Impossibly, her belly stays round, insatiable as though it's sucking out the fat, the blood, the life from the rest of her. But there are no more babies coming, but she doesn't have the strength. She fights for her last breath, remembering the rabbit in the snare, eyes wild, tugging as it choked, screaming and gasping. She thinks she must look the same way now. If were there and if anyone to watch, if only she knew. Oh, God! Alright, well that took about the expected turn. Well, I wasn't thinking about, stillborns, but I figured there'd be some sort of body horror. I thought the rabbit was gonna kill everyone, and it looks like the rabbits, they did kill everyone. Just after she was dead. Well, they didn't kill everyone, they killed her. Just after she was dead. They made a burrow out of the grave, and that is strange. Okay, well, that was ridiculously short. Okay, well, we're done here. Thank you so much for taking a little bit out of your day to come and say hello. I'll see you next time if you decide to do so again.